I'm glad my father died before perestroika. He was a lifelong Marxist, and the collapse of the Soviet Union would probably have broken his heart. I remember a night in 1953 when I was 8. We were living in Mexico, where we had fled to escape persecution from the FBI and the House Un-American Activities Committee. My father had just tucked me into bed when the news came over the short wave that Stalin had died in Moscow. I can still see my father sitting there, absorbing the news, and turning to look with a fierce certainty into the night, past all the friends who had informed against him to the FBI, all the cowards who had clammed up about McCarthy during the Cold War, toward the fixed star of the Soviet Union, where truth and social justice would prevail. For beyond Stalin stood Lenin, and beyond Lenin, the mountain range of Marx, that infallible guide for my father to action and the truth. Now Marx and Lenin lie shattered on the ground, toppled by a whirlwind of events that read less like history than something from the Brothers Grimm. A bear-like man named Boris climbs atop a tank and turns the tide of history. A man named Mikhail is betrayed by his own creation and returns 3 days later from the dead. 3 nameless men fall before the bullets of an army, and all of Russia is saved. And my head spins, and nothing makes much sense anymore. I stare at the close-ups on TV of these new faces that have murdered Marx and Lenin for some sign of what they really believe. And in their eyes, I see nothing more certain than a hatred of their past and a fear of each other and the future. I think of what my 5-year-old son Andrew said when he saw the damage caused by Hurricane Bob, which leveled our summer on Cape Cod as surely as Hurricane Boris leveled the Soviet Union. "Wow, Dad," he said with awe, "the landscape's broken." I didn't know how to tell him that inside the same thing has happened to me. I may not have always agreed with my father, but his integrity and unshakable faith in communism helped chart the moral landscape for me. As long as he was around to attack capitalism and capitalism to attack him, I knew the truth lay somewhere in between. Now, as the nights grow long, the ground beneath my feet seems very shaky, and my sleep is full of dreams. In one recurring dream, I'm lost in a storm. Through the howling winds, I hear my father crying for help. A tree has fallen on him in the forest, and he clutches at my hands to save his life. Suddenly, far ahead, I see my son wandering toward an unprotected clearing where the winds are even stronger and nothing's safe. And I know he needs me more. "Dad," I say, "I'm sorry. The landscape's broken." And full of love and sorrow, I leave my father to his fate.